This is a quick tutorial of Draftosaurus on BGA, Board Game Arena. Draftosaurus is a drafting game where you choose an item and then pass to your neighbor and choose another until all of the, in this case, dinosaur meeples have been chosen and placed on your board. There are two sides of the board. This is the summer side. We'll see the winter side in a little while. And there are rules for placing each of the dinosaurs that you have the option to place. So um, at the beginning of each round, you will have 6 dinosaurs to choose from. In a 3-player game, there are 6 different species of dinosaurs, 6 different colors. In a 3-player game, there will be 6 each of those. In a 4-player game, there'll be 8 of each of those. 5-player, 10. And this is a 4-player game, so there are 8 of each species. Then half of them are just circled around in this round, and then half will be circled around in the next round before we flip the board. So each of these dinosaurs can be placed in a certain way on the board, depending on these various numbers, these various pens. There are 6 pens on this side of the board, and we'll go through what each of those mean. So this first pen here, whenever you place dinosaurs in this pen, they have to all be the same species, the same color. Once you place a purple in here, they all have to be purple. Whereas this pen over here, these all have to be different. Every single one has to be different between. If you place a purple, then you can't place any more purples in this pen. And note, there are point values at the bottom of each of the pens. That's how many points for how many you're able to fill within that pen. The more you fill, obviously, the higher points you will get for that. The pen down here, the Prairie of Love, anytime you have 2 of the same species, a pair of the same color in here, you get 5 points. And then the other 3 are a little trickier, but pretty straightforward. So this one is kind of just a place you can put dinosaurs that you don't really have a good place otherwise to. If you get 3, exactly 3 in this pen, then you get 7 points. But if you don't get 3, then you get 0. This can be good if you just don't have a good place for it, but make sure that if you're going to put 1 in there, that you put 3 in there. Otherwise, you don't get any points for those dinosaurs. The solitary island down here, if you put a dinosaur in this pen and you don't have any more of that dinosaur on your entire board, so if I put this yellow here and at the end of both of the 2 rounds for this side of the board, I don't have any other yellows on my board, then I get 7 points. Otherwise, I get 0 points. And then finally, the King of the Jungle. This is a bit opposite. If you put a colored dinosaur on this pen, and you have the most of that dinosaur out of all of the other players, then you get 7 points. So if I put a purple on this, and I had 4 purples on my pen at the end of the round, and nobody else got close to that, or got more than that, I think ties, you still get the points, then I get 7 points. If somebody else had more of that color than I did, then I get 0 points for that pen. If you have no place to put things, then you can always stick things in the river. It's not really treated like a pen, but it just gives you a point for every dino that you put in there. It's not very efficient, but sometimes that's the only place that you can put something. You can always put something in the river. One other thing to note, there is a T-Rex. One of the types is the T-Rex, the red type. Any pen that has a T-Rex in it gives you an extra point at the end. If you have 2 T-Rexes in a pen, that doesn't give you 2 points, just 1 per pen. All right, so those are the rules about placing, but if there's an added mechanism, there is a die that is rolled by every person. If you are the person that's rolled, then the die doesn't affect you if you're the person that rolls the die. Otherwise, the die will have some sort of restriction on where you can place a dinosaur. So there are 4 different sides that talk about placement geographically. There's a woodlands, where it means you can only place in one of these 3 pens because they're in this green woodlands area. There's grassland, which even though it looks more like desert, is this brown area. If it's in the grassland, you can only place in these 3 pens. There's one that's the food side, so that means you can only do this side of the river, pens on this side of the river. And there's one on the restroom side, that means you can only put pens or put dinosaurs on this side of the river. There are 2 others. The one that I rolled, I don't have to follow, but I rolled it anyway for others to follow, is that you have to put it on an empty pen. And there's one more that says you have to put it on a pen that doesn't already contain a T-Rex. So you don't want to spread your T-Rexes too much, because if you roll that, you may not have a place to put it. But again, those T-Rexes can get you extra points. Alright, so I placed a dinosaur here, that's purple. I saw that there were several purples. I thought maybe I can build that up some when it comes back around. I placed it on the purple, and I can place it anywhere because I rolled the die. This time, now it's not my turn anymore. I got 5 from my neighbor. Here's the 5 dinosaurs I got. But now I have to place on the grassland section. Again, the grassland is these brown areas. Now BGA does something nice to where as if you click on a dinosaur, it will outline all of the pens that you can put it on. So if you don't see a red dotted square around it, you are not able to put it on that pen. And so yeah, you simply go through and click the dinosaur that you're interested in, placing, and then place it on pen. In this case, I put an orange dinosaur on the difference one to try to start building that up. I would have put that purple on the same one to try to continue building that up, but the restriction didn't allow me to place in this area. Okay, here is the final dinosaur of this round. After I place that one, I didn't really have a good place to put it because I had to put it in the forest, and I couldn't put it here, and I didn't want to yet put it here and say this is what I think I'm going to have the most of out of anybody, so I stuck it into the trio pen here. You've placed your 6, and the second round of this side of the board begins. Alright, so now we have 6 more dinosaurs, and I placed the requirement here was that it had to be on somewhere that didn't have a T-Rex. This just worked out for me. I was able to put that another purple dinosaur on there. What I'm trying to do is get a purple dinosaur here so that I can win the purple dinosaurs and get that extra 7, because I'm obviously going to probably have more purple dinosaurs than anyone else. In fact, you can look over on the different people and see how many of each type of dinosaur each person has. So this person has 3 red ones. If I'm competing on purple, I can see that one other person has some purples, and so I need to watch out for that. At any point, you can look at other people's boards to see what they're doing, and you're always welcome to draft things that they need in order to prevent them from getting it. That's how drafting works, but usually you're focusing on your own board. All right, this is towards the end of the second round, and again, remember, between the 2 rounds on one board, you're going to rotate in different directions. I was feeling pretty good. Things were going okay. I wanted to get 3 in this spot to get that 7 points. I put this green here because I didn't have any other greens on the board, so that would have given me 7 points. And then when I passed this yellow one, I got a green one. That just ruined my 7 points. Also, it had to be placed on an empty pen. I don't have any empty pens, so I'd end up placing it in the river. That turn did not go well for me. So I ended up on this round, on this side of the board, getting 4th place point-wise. And after everybody's placed their dinosaurs, it will do totaling up for you and show you all of the points. So I got 3 for that one, I got 5 because I had a pair there, 0, and then I got some extra points for my dinos. And now we flip over to the winter side, and these pens are a little more complicated. So let's start again up at the top left. This pen here, Now it's not quite the same or the different one. This is a pen where you have to follow every other pattern. So you put one color and then the next color. It doesn't have to be this yellow-green. This is just showing one color, then the next color, and then you have to repeat that pattern. So if I go yellow and then red, then I have to continue yellow, red on this pattern here. The bridge here in the middle, this is kind of like the love pen previously where you're looking for pairs, but in this case you're putting one pair on each side. And if you put a pair on each side, you get 6 points for each pair. So if you put a blue on this side and a blue on that side, then you get a point for each side. This pyramid pen here is kind of interesting. There's a lot of points to be had here. You start filling dinosaurs in, starting with the full bottom row, then the second row, and then the top row. And every one that you fill in on the bottom row, you get 2. Every one on the middle row, you get 4. And every one on the top row, you get 7 points for this one. However, this circle, this not equal sign here, means that any one of these that are touching either vertically or horizontally cannot be the same. So if I have a red dinosaur here, then none of these that touch it, either vertically or horizontally, can be red. If I have an orange here, then I can have an orange over here because those aren't touching, or an orange here and an orange there. But wherever they're touching through these circles, those cannot be the same color. This is a good place to rack up some points if you plan it out right and are able to complete that pyramid. That extra 7 at the top is really good. The other two are a little trickier, but not too bad. So this is the lookout up here. This is basically, you put a color down that you think your neighbor, and it'll tell you which neighbor, and it tells me it's my neighbor to my right that I'm looking at. And for every color, or every dino of that color that they place on their board at the end of the round, you get 2 points. So you're going to want to pay attention to the person on the right's board to see what they're collecting. And you can look over here at that as well. And you're going to want to put a dinosaur of that color on this lookout space because you'll get 2 points for every one that they have. So especially if they're doing a lot of collecting of a certain color. And then finally the quarantine space. This one's interesting where you put a dinosaur there, and then at the very end of the game, after you've done both rounds on the winter side, you can put that dinosaur in any other pen. You just pick where you want. So it's a nice place if you really wanted to add that last piece of pattern here, or you wanted to fill that top spot there, but you couldn't for some reason because of the die or whatever reason, you stick it here, and at the end of the game, you get to put it on any pen. Again, you also have the river that you can use, and the T-Rex scoring as well. Note that each of these are 2 separate pens. This is not one pen, so if you have a T-Rex here and a T-Rex here, that gives you 2 extra points. Alright, this is what the end of the second round of the winter side looks like. This one went way better for me. I was able to fill my whole pyramid here. Nothing that is touching or right next to each other is the same color. I got a pair of dinos in there, which gave me a T-Rexes in there, which gave me 2 extra points. And I noticed that my neighbor here was collecting blues, so I put a blue here, and that'll times by 2 points for however many they have, and it may even be more depending on if they have another one. And then I have a pair here, and now I have my quarantined. So after I place my last dino, it says, okay, now you place your quarantined dino. So I had an orange here. I set that up so I could put it up here as the last pattern. And so I placed it up here. Everybody else placed their quarantine dinos. And then it totaled up. This side went much better for me. Ended up just barely pulling out. You can see 21 points for filling that pyramid. I was able to fully pull out the victory there just by 1 point. It was a very close game. And that's it. It's very quick, and just trying to plan ahead and play the odds to get the right combinations of dinosaurs. Hope that's helpful. Thanks.